one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. This gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
I can't even think about all of the shit I did to fit in. Past hard to watch like a fucking scary movie. I'm always happy to meet somebody that never knew me. Change for the better, hope niggas are living through me. I put it all on the wax so the people can know the true me. Hard to remain sane when the people you love the most is what's causing the damn pain. Y'all beef by the same thing, we ain't playing the same game. It's all for my family. She the girl of your fucking dreams, but to me she a plain Jane. You dipper and ball man, I duck when them calls came. This that higher level thinking. I'm the type to jump the fuck off for the shit before it's sinking. Not here for no new shit, my game slider boosted. Ain't I don't have to prove shit. Rockstar fight the fool shit. My movie, this the new script. I want a life with no bullshit, nigga. I know on these news clips. That's why I dap him and move quick. Won't be around when they move switch. Won't be around when they lose clips. Won't be around for they lose lips. Might be the reason they pull shit. Yeah.
Here come the bus.
Bro, what y'all eating for Christmas, bro? For Christmas Eve, my peoples, we eating fried chicken, bro. I don't care what people got to say about, oh, black people like fried chicken. The world like fried chicken. The world like fried chicken, my boy. Check me out. Listen to me. Come close. I gotta talk to you. After I get done tonight, we're doing this recording. I'm going to get some chicken. Some fried chicken, some potatoes, potato wedges. I can't call them potato wedges because they really ain't potato wedges. They chop up potatoes and deep fry them bitches. They straight. I prefer potato wedges, but it's whatever. But yeah, hey bro, you ever been to Buffalo Wild Wings and got they potato wedges, bro? When you go to Buffalo Wild Wings and get they potato wedges when they hot, my God. But listen, we're not here for all that. Check me out. Listen to me. I got to talk to you. For Christmas. Oh, yeah. Also, the fried chicken that my people's getting, bro, they wanted to get it from Publix. I never had chicken from Publix. I've never even been to Publix. Just heard about it a couple months ago. Dead ass. Never had heard of Publix. I didn't even know that was a thing that they did. I should have expected it since every store do that. I just want to say something. I don't like chicken from Food Lion. Walmart used to have some fire ass food in their food section, but they was literally, you could see the fresh hot food right there. That's a little bit different. Most stores don't serve good fried chicken to me though. I'm just putting that out there. But either way, I'm interested to see what you know what make the fried chicken better is if you got the hot sauce with it and the sides. Like, what's the fixings? You know what I'm saying? Is we gonna have baked macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes and gravy. Don't really need gravy for your mashed potatoes if it's like something like a loaded mashed potatoes or if it's a garlic mashed potatoes with flavor. Black people know what I'm talking about. Like, black people make potatoes where you don't need gravy. That's like a side option if you want gravy. But it's gonna be flavorful. Like, you ain't gonna need the gravy. I heard a white dude say that they eat mashed potatoes, and I just assumed they ate they mashed potatoes like I did, with like flavor and shit. But he say nah, like it's just plain mashed potatoes. And for one, they call it mash, which is just why. But he say nah, they like they mashed potatoes. I found this out through Thanksgiving. He was like, him and his family like they mashed potatoes the way that the people back in the day ate it. Which is not the first time I heard this, because I heard a goof on TV say this. But he said like him and his family don't really do too much seasonings of the mashed potatoes. Like, they throw a little bit of butter in it, some salt, and then they serve it, and everybody love it. And I'm like, what? Like, bro, it's no way y'all sitting there eating this shit. Like, bro, it's just no way. But listen, for Christmas, my people have an Olive Garden, bro. We're getting Olive Garden catered to us, bro. Yes, I haven't had Olive Garden in like 7, 8, 9 years, so this is gonna be great for me. I'm one of the people paying for it. This is gonna be an experience for me because I haven't had Olive Garden in God knows how long. So I'm hoping that they put their foot in this shit. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, Yo, we got to wrap up week 15. I'm not sure if it's going to be another video. I do appreciate anybody who done subscribed to the channel. I appreciate you for checking out the videos. I appreciate you for posting them. I'm going to eventually create a different Twitter again. Until I do that, I appreciate y'all for liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. Anything you do to support the channel, I appreciate you greatly. Listen, I understand this may seem like a bare bone operation right now, and that's because it is. But it won't always be like this, I promise you. It will not always be like this. This a blow up or die trying type of situation, you know what I'm saying? But we got to talk about this Giants and Commanders Sunday night game real fast. But this video is particularly we're looking at the NFC South. But before we get to the NFC South, I do want to talk about the Giants and the Commanders game. The Giants win that game 20-12. Going into that game, I told you I thought that the Commanders were a better team than the Giants. I didn't leave that game thinking nothing different, but I also left that game thinking the exact same thing I thought about Tyler Heinicke. I mean, he all right. He a decent quarterback, but he's not a franchise quarterback. And the fact that Washington cannot figure out a franchise quarterback at this point in time it's ridiculous. It's kind of like the Colts, but there will be options. I bet they regret letting Kirk Cousins go now. Either way, though, there will be options. I think Mac Jones will be available to be traded. Lamar Jackson. They'll have options to make a trade for a quarterback. I don't think Tyler Heinicke is the answer, no matter how much they try to hype him up. I understand it's their job. You don't want them to get on TV and just start shitting all over the dude. But, you know, I understand what Tyler Heinicke is. The Giants forced 4 fumbles. They only recovered 2 of them, but they forced 4 of them. That shit was wild. The Giants defense came to play. Saquon had a decent game. Daniel Jones really wasn't special, but he did what he needed to do. Daniel Jones had a drive in this game that looked very dominant. I'm like, damn, if he could look like this 80% of the time, he would be a quarterback that they paid. But he don't look like that 80% of the time. So that's why they didn't pick up his option. Kayvon Thibodeau. Breakout game, 12 tackles, a sack, 3 tackles for a loss, a forced fumble, a sack that led to a forced fumble that he recovered and scored on a scoop and score. Like, dude had an insane game. This is exactly what you thought you was getting out of him when you drafted him. Great game by him. Dexter Lawrence had a good game. Like, a lot of different Giants whose names you might have forgotten about had great games again. Like, you forget how many good players on this Giants team because they hadn't won a game in like a month and a half. This their first win in like a month and a half worth of playing out. I don't believe that the Giants or the Command. I got to relook at the thing, but I think it's a battle between these two teams and the Seahawks. I don't think neither one of them making the playoffs over the Seahawks because I think the Seahawks better than both teams. However, if one of these teams can get in and the Seahawks, the Commanders missing out. You can't blow this type of game. Not to mention, to me it's a problem when I look at a team like Washington. Look at Washington. That is not a team that's depleted of talent. They got talent on the defensive side of the ball. They got talent on the offensive side of the ball. They don't have a quarterback. It's like I say about Baltimore. You know what's missing is a game-changing receiver. But they won't go out and get one. Washington know they need a quarterback, but they won't go all out to go get one. Either you need to lose enough games to get yourself a quarterback, or you need to go out and go hard at trying to trade for a quarterback. You should be trying to trade for Lamar Jackson. You should be trying to go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo. You should be going out and trying to get Mac Jones. Washington not doing this makes no sense to me. The players talk about, I hear fans all the time talk about, oh man, this dude get paid so much so nobody else on the roster. Bro, Washington over here paying everybody but a quarterback because they won't go out and forcibly get a quarterback. Like, I don't want to hear this, oh, they never in the right situation, or it's, this happened. Bro, if you know that you need a quarterback, bro, go get one. The Cardinals, I'll never agree with the fire the coach in 1 year, get rid of Josh Rosen after 1 year. But they knew they wanted the quarterback. They saw the quarterback they wanted. They said, we getting him. Washington that had multiple years to replace Kirk Cousins and haven't done it. I mean, we can use so many different excuses for him, but this is a team that's got way too much talent on it on a year-to-year basis. When you really sit back and look at this talent, and they never got a quarterback. I understand the RG3 injury, the freak injury, but not paying Kirk Cousins what he felt like he deserved, knowing that you didn't have a backup plan after that, and then this carousel of quarterbacks you done been on ever since, this is the mark of a bad run franchise. It's a lot of different ways to be a bad run franchise, and I'm sure I'm not breaking no news that the Washington Commanders are a bad franchise. This is a team that had an owner that didn't want to change the name from the racist name that it was, so I'm not breaking no headlines right here for you that the Washington Commanders are a bad run franchise, but this is not a game that the Washington Commanders, in my opinion, should have lost. I understand the quarterback situation is a bust. It's a draw. Daniel Jones, Tyler Heineke, you take your pick. Both of them is not really that great to me, so I could care. But the Giants have, to me, a decent team, not better than the Commanders if they playing all out. And I'm not even just going to put it on the Commanders' offense, which is crazy because the Commanders had more yards in this game total. The Commanders' defensive line, where were they at? The pressure, I mean, they didn't have a big game. And they got too much talent on that line to not have big games nearly every game. With the talent they have on that line, it's just something not clicking in Washington. And this is what happens. You lose games that you should win, and you will probably miss the playoffs. We'll do a deep dive into the back end of the NFC in a couple videos. But I want to get to the NFC South. Every team in the NFC South played this weekend. Cincinnati was in Tampa Bay. They win 34-23. Tampa Bay fell to 6-8. Pittsburgh was in Carolina. They win 24-16. Carolina falls to 5-9. Atlanta and New Orleans played each other. Atlanta was in New Orleans. They lose 18-21. Both teams are now 5-9 on the season. So you got 3 5-9 teams, 1 6-8 team. No team in this division is over 500. Every team in this division is at least 2 games under 500. Easily the worst division in football. What's going on? Somebody has to win this division. I understand that's a hell of a statement at this point in time, but somebody indeed has to win this division. And it's oh my goodness, it's not looking. This is a tough division, man. So you look at the Cincinnati Bengals game, and I done said multiple times, I think Cincinnati one of the most complete teams in football, and I think they got by far offensively. I just feel like they have more talent than most teams on offense. The only reason people didn't realize it is because they didn't have a quarterback. I watch this team play all the time because they're in my division. I've been saying it for the longest. I'm just seeing people start to realize how great T. Higgins is. But I done said it. This is a team that's walking around with 3 number 1 receivers, 2 of which masquerade as 2s, 1 of which masquerades as a 3. And so you have analysts on TV who don't watch these games like I watch them. So they keep telling you how great Jamar Chase is, but they don't tell you how great Boyd is. And if you have the few analysts who talk to you how Boyd, they're not talking to you about how great T. Higgins is. That's why you see an analyst get on TV and say, oh, Jamar Chase was hurt, so that's going to make it harder for Joe Burrow. No, it's not. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins are number 1 receivers. Jamar Chase is better than both of them, I agree. But that's 3 number 1 receivers. You put those 3 dudes on any other team, they are the number 1 receiver for those teams. And this is what I'm saying when I talk about Baltimore. Trading in the division don't mean shit to me. You know you need a receiver. The Bengals have 3. They ain't paying T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase. It's impossible for them to do that. Because all 3 of them dudes are going to want to get paid top-notch money. And all 3 of those dudes could go out and demand top-notch money. The only one who would have a problem is T. Higgins. And he won't have a problem if there's people out there who actually watch him play and realize that's a number 1 receiver playing on an offense that's got 2 other number 1 receivers and a great running back and a great backup running back in Samaje Perine who can do what number 1 back. He basically a knockoff Austin Eckler. No disrespect, but I'm not going to say he better than Austin Eckler. But he more productive in the clutch than Austin Eckler at the moment. People spend so much time talking about the offensive line woes of the Cincinnati Bengals that it's so easy for for them to gloss over the actual level of talent. Like, people keep trying to use the offensive line as a crutch. I done seen a lot of great teams with bad offensive lines. It's not a lot of teams out there with this type of level of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Like, these are, mind you, I don't think Hayden Hurst is a top 5 tight end, but it's a lot of people out there who think Hayden Hurst is a great, like, top level tight end. And I don't think he's a scrub or nothing like that. I definitely think he's better than C.J. Uzomah, who was here last year. I actually think he's significantly better than C.J. Uzomah. But what I'm saying is, it's going to look like he's way better anyways because he's playing with 3 number 1 receivers and 2 phenomenal running backs. This level of talent is not Josh Allen don't got this type of talent around him. It's another quarterback who do got this level of talent, but this is why I'm constantly critical of him. Justin Herbert. Listen, you could tell me, oh, Justin Herbert. Bro, the offensive scheme in Cincinnati is not a phenomenal offensive scheme. They throw a lot of dink and dunks when they can't get the ball down the field like they like to do. It's just a lot of talent over there, and they're going to beat you eventually when they get it going. It happened Sunday against Tampa. Tampa started off 17-0. You can only hold Cincinnati down for so long. It is what it is. They have too much talent on this team. It's a team that couldn't score in the first half. They come out and put 34 on your head. It's too much talent on this team. Too much. I told you, the only time this offense for Cincinnati becomes depleted is if they have 2 of those receivers missing. Because now I do think one of the problems becomes, because even when you got one great receiver, you should be able to make things happen. They don't have a great offensive coordinator, in my opinion. They don't have a great head coach, in my opinion. But Joe Burrow and them dudes is them dudes. Justin Herbert got the level of talent, bro. He just ain't won at the level of a Joe Burrow. He got just as much talent. I mean, you got Eckler, you got Williams, you got Keenan Allen. You had I don't know why people shit on Jared Cook. It's for some reason, it's like if a tight end is not Kelsey, Andrews, which nobody is Kelsey. But if they're not Kelsey, Andrews, or George Kittle, people shit on them. Jared Cook is a damn good tight end. I don't know why people shit on him, but you could have a far worse tight end playing at the position than Jared Cook. Some of y'all just don't watch football, bro. Either way, you look at all that talent that they have in Cincinnati, that's just I don't know too many. Like, I dead ass almost changed my Super Bowl pick to Cincinnati, Philadelphia. Because for one, both of those 2 teams to me is the most talented teams in football as far as the talent on the roster. On top of that, I understand Cincinnati's defense don't get they just gave up their first 300 passing yard game to a quarterback this year, and they still won the game. Had 2 turnovers as far as interceptions, forced a fumble. Like, Cincinnati's defense to me, and plus I can trust Cincinnati's defense for the simple reason they did this last year and got to the Super Bowl. Cincinnati's team looks phenomenal. But the important thing to notice is Joe Burrow always got a weapon for. Unlike Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, this team, Cincinnati, capitalizing on Joe Burrow's rookie contract. They making sure he got talent around him while they can. And he going to have talent around him once he get that contract extension also, because they're going to re-sign Jamar Chase. They're not going to re-sign all 3 of the quarterbacks. And they probably, receivers. They probably won't bring back Samaje or Mixon. But he's going to have talent. He's just going to have more of the Josh Allen type of talent eventually, whereas you got a great receiver, some great 2 and 3 receivers, but you ain't going to have 3 number 1s walking around. T. Higgins is getting a payday from somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore gave him the payday. I'm not going to be mad because T. Higgins is a number 1 level receiver that Baltimore, and he will probably end up being the best receiver Baltimore done had. But it would piss me off that they wouldn't go for Tyler Boyd because he is better than T. Higgins. It would piss me off that if Jamar Chase was out there, they wouldn't go for him. T. Higgins is a safe option. And they probably would even miss out on him because they try to pay him as if he wasn't a number 1, even though he is. But the only reason they would luck up on T. Higgins if they were to sign him is because they look at him and perceive him as a number 3 receiver, when in actuality he a number 1 receiver. But it's a team out there who would outbid them because they realize T. Higgins is a number 1. At the worst, he is a number 2. which I'm telling you right now, let T. Higgins go out there and get to a team where he can be the number one. If T. Higgins was in Houston right now, he'd be the number one. I'm not even going to use bad teams. But I tell you right now, you think Mac Jones could use a T. Higgins right now? I'm just saying. Like, it's receivers out there that certain teams could go out and get. That's why I get tired of hearing these excuses. Oh, they tried. They didn't, though. They didn't. But when I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, I really cannot tell you why this team is as bad as they are. I got off on a tangent talking about Cincinnati, but I can't tell you why Tampa Bay is as bad as they are. This is a bad team, and I don't want Brady to retire on this. I haven't even been thinking about Brady retiring, but I guess it's a reality that Brady could retire. I hope he don't retire, but this is a bad team, man. 6-8. Mike Evans is a great receiver, having a rough year. The numbers wouldn't even tell you he's having a bad year. Obviously, they might say he's having a down year, but I don't care about the numbers. You just watch the games. Him and Brady not connecting the way you used to them, accustomed to them being able to connect. So, am I worried about Tampa Bay? Absolutely. But, I mean, it's just a relief of worry when you look at this trash-ass division. The reality is somebody in this division got to get to the playoffs, though. So, who wins the division? Because only one team getting out. And the remaining games for the Atlanta Falcons, they go to Baltimore next. Then they finish off with 2 home games. They got the Bucs at home to finish the season, and they got the Cardinals at home in between those 2 games. So, at Baltimore, at home against against Arizona, at home against Tampa Bay. I think they losing 2 out of 3 of these games. I think they losing in Baltimore. I think they're going to beat the Cardinals, and they're going to lose to finish the season in Tampa. Now, I have no confidence in them losing actually to Tampa Bay. That could be a very close game. But Baltimore should be able to beat them. This is a team Baltimore's defense should be able to win the game off of, even with Baltimore's god-awful offense without Lamar. The Cardinals is a team that I feel like done mailed the season in. They looking towards scouting the draft and how to fix this team in the upcoming season. So I feel like that's a game that you can get. A team competing to win a division, knowing that they can have a playoff spot on the line, should be trying to win that game. Should be looking at that game as a win, as a game you winning. And then to close the season against the Bucs, I think they'll lose that game. Because I just don't think, even though both teams is bad, I'ma just take the Tom Brady effect. Even though the Tom Brady effect really ain't meant shit the last couple weeks. New Orleans last 3 games to close out the season. They at Cleveland, at Philly, at home against Panthers. So you got to go on the road to take on the Browns and the Eagles, and you got the Panthers at home. I think New Orleans is losing every single one of these games to close out the season. I don't think they'll beat the Browns on the road because I think the Browns will find a way to make this game boring enough to where New Orleans won't be able to score on their defense. The Browns will struggle for large portions of this game to score because Deshaun Watson's still getting acclimated with the offense. But they'll do enough with Nick Chubb to win this game, I believe. They're not beating the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't care if the Eagles is resting Jalen Hurts by that time. The Eagles are a better team. I think the Eagles are even, if they have to, they'll etch that game out. And I think they'll lose to the Panthers because I think the Panthers, while I think the Panthers have a great defense, just like New Orleans got a good defense, for some reason the Panthers just feel like the best team in this division right now. I don't really know why. It just feel like they haven't played as bad as Carolina played. That felt like it was early in the season. It feel like they play a tougher brand of ball under Steve Wilkes, and they feel like a better team than New Orleans. I'm not gonna lie to you. The problem with a lot of this, the problem with this entire division is none of these teams can score. Like, all of these teams have tough time scoring. So you could look at every single defense and be like, I mean, it's not really that great, but against this team it will be. You know what I'm saying? It's tough. Because then you go to Carolina's last 3 games. They at home against the Lions, and then they finish off on the road against the Bucs, on the road against the Saints. I think they're going to lose 2 of these 3 games. I think they're going to lose against the Lions because the Lions are definitely fighting for a playoff spot, and I think the Lions offense will be able to score on Carolina. They got the Bucks on the road. I think because that's a road game, the Bucks will be able to find a way to pull that game out. And then they on the road against the Saints, and I think they're going to win that game too. So actually, I think Carolina going to win out. That's the thing. I think not win out. I think they're going to win one of their last. Oh yes, I'm tripping. I think Carolina going to win one of their last 3 games. So that put them in basically the same situation with Atlanta, because I think Atlanta going to win one of their last 3 games. I think New Orleans not going to win a single one of their last games, which is what's going to put them in the last place in the division. Atlanta and Carolina tying in the division don't mean shit. Neither team is going to the playoffs. You get to Tampa Bay. They have the Cardinals at home. Then they go play the Panthers. No. They go play the Cardinals in Arizona. Then they come home to play the Panthers. Then they on the road to play the Falcons. I think Tampa Bay will win the last all 3 of these games. They, like I said about Arizona, this is a team that is no longer competing for a playoff spot. They are not. I don't even think they plan to spoil somebody's game or season. They just trying to get to the end of the season. You got to win that game. I don't care if it's on the road. You got Carolina at home. You have to win this home game. You just got blasted at home again. You have to win your last home game of the season. And then you go on the road to play the Falcons. I understand how close that Falcons game was early in the season. Well, that was at home. Now you on the road. I don't care. You have to go. I have to believe that Tom Brady with the game, and it could come down to this game for the season, for this division. And I'm have to take on the road. Plus, the Falcons might actually lose the rest of these 3 games. They have a rookie starting now. I just thought about that. The Falcons got a rookie starting in Desmond Ridder. The Bucks are winning that game. So, with that, I have to believe that the Bucks will end their season with 9 wins. They'll finish 9-8 on the season and make the playoffs. And they'll even finish over 500, a game over 500. So it won't even look as bad, even though a lot of the other teams is finishing way over 500. Now, what's interesting is Tampa Bay, when they get to the playoffs, who the fuck could they beat when they get to the playoffs? Dallas. I know how great Dallas defense is. I know how great their offense is. And I know they bound to let you motherfuckers down like they do all the time. It just is what it is. I'm not hating on Dallas. That's just a team. And the Vikings. See, that's the thing about this. If Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina make the playoffs, that's a first round exit. I don't care who they play. They're losing. If Tampa Bay make the playoffs, as bad as they've played, bro, they got Brady. They can beat the Broncos. I mean, they could beat 2 teams in this playoffs if they get there. And who knows when it comes to San Fran, Brock Purdy go out there and stank it up, have a bad game for once, have a rookie type of performance in the playoffs, the pressure get to him. Tom Brady done been here, done that. You know he ain't folding to no pressure. He go out there, throw some picks, he's still going to be locked in. Next drive, next play. So while Tampa Bay might limp into the playoffs, don't get it twisted. They can still knock some motherfuckers right on up out of this thing now. And I said what I said. With that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me. The next video I'm getting started on after this one, we're looking forward to Thursday night football. Jacksonville Jaguars on the road taking on the Jets in a big game. A game worth a lot of importance in this game. A lot of importance. But we had to talk about this sorry ass NFC South division, man. Somebody got to win it. And I think the Bucks is going to win it. I stand firm on that. But with that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. I saw a question on Speak where it said, who could you plug in it for Jalen Hurts that could do what he doing with this offense? Lamar Jackson. And he could be doing more with the offense. And that's no shot at Jalen Hurts. But you asked a question, I answered it. Tell somebody you fuck with him, tell somebody you love him. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy, scoop her up like I'm raking or something. You would think shawty ran track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber, you out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.